Welcome back, Tarot fams. We are on part 2 of this bonus special Timeline Thursdays. I know it's not Thursday, but we're having some fun with this. I'm totally enjoying this. Timeline Thursdays, where we're going to step aside from the headlines. We're going to look at decision points, past, present, and future from political figures, royal figures, celebrities, that kind of thing. And we're going to show that future is not fated. It's shaped by our choices, leadership, restraint, and courage. So we are going to be looking at timeline shifts, but we're a little bit more focused on politics today. So I'll be right back. Welcome back, Tarot fam. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner and psychic for over 35 years. And this is Timeline Thursday, but it's a bonus 3-part special that we're doing focused specifically on the United Kingdom, the monarchy, and in this one, Parliament. So I have a lot of friends in the United Kingdom, and I know you guys are not happy with your prime minister right now. I know you're not. Keir Starmer became prime minister on July 5th, 2024. And since then, I have heard many, many things from my British and Welsh and Irish and Scottish friends that they're just not happy with the way things are going. Immigration has been through the roof. There's a lot going on. But in this video, I want to talk about the connection with the monarch and the prime minister. So monarchs reign, but they do not rule. The prime minister is running the country. I know I don't have to tell my United Kingdom friends that. But the monarch doesn't veto legislation in modern practice. So we have some historical precedents here. We had the 1970s economic crisis under Harold Wilson. Some of us remember that. Some of you don't remember that. 1992's Black Wednesday, which was under John Major, and the Brexit turbulence from 2016 to 2019 under Theresa May and Boris Johnson, who I fondly call Soup Sandwich because he always looked like a soup sandwich. So the monarchy remains stable while prime ministers fluctuate. So when politics get volatile, the monarchy provides the keel to kind of keep public sentiment and emotion stabilized. So we have the Brexit referendum in 2016. We have 2019 Parliament prorogation controversy, and in 2022, 3 prime ministers in 1 year. There was actually a meme that had a revolving door, a carousel door there, and that was with Johnson, Truss, and Sunak, the current. Not the current. But we had 3 prime ministers. Sunak, we can kind of forget about. He just kind of jumped in and out. So Queen Elizabeth, as we all remember, died in 2022 with an approval rating of 70%. Institutional continuity often will outlast political turbulence. We all do know the fun conversations between Queen Elizabeth and Winston Churchill during the fog, which I thought was a very interesting period of political, I don't know what to do with this when they had the significant fog. So I want to dip in to what happens if a monarch engages politically, what happens if it remains neutral, and what maximizes the trust in the monarchy long term. So we're going to take a look at that. So let's go, kids. The Brexit referendum. Did the monarchy assist in that timeline. 10 of Wands. They wanted nothing to do with it. Could they have influenced the Brexit timeline to soften that? Eight of Cups. No, they wanted no part of it. Three of Pentacles. They wanted everyone else to deal with it. My opinion, I do think that much of the monarchy and the royal family and that great house of the United Kingdom were not really thrilled with Brexit. I think around the table, I think they were not really thrilled with it. I think conversation wise, they did see this as the fall of the monarchy. Queen of Cups in reverse too. The Hermit. We're not learning from our past. We are allowing too much to influence the cooperation between Parliament and the monarchy. I think that they were very concerned that the act of Brexit was going to dilute the influence of the royal family in terms of political leadership. So what maximizes the situation at hand now in terms of that cooperation of the United Kingdom with the EU, with other countries? So what maximizes it now? How should the monarchy behave within this political framework of maybe bringing the United Kingdom more into an isolated kingdom? Oh, we've got the ship totally off the board. We're going to leave it. I'll put it all the way up here. It was totally off the board. We lean so heavily into what the late Queen had wanted, which many of us don't know. We don't know. Her council does know. Preservation from son to father. And I'm not being sexist in this moment, but it is the preservation of that minor line of succession, the easy line of succession. We don't want to mix this up too much. I do think that psychically there is some discussion of uniting some of those houses of Europe, some of the more important families. I think there was discussion about possibly having William unite with a foreign bride. This, again, when he was quite young, not taking an English bride. I think there were mistakes that were seen in marrying King Charles to an English bride. So I think there were discussions about maybe we should go back to kind of uniting these great houses, the House of Hesse, House of Romanov, any of those. So I do think that this is a very interesting thought pattern. Are they considering, is there consideration to have George marry a foreign bride? Nine of Wands, I'll never tell. Famously, when Nicholas II was seeking partners for his oldest daughters, Olga and Tatiana, they had traveled to one of the neighboring nations, and the girls did not want to be separated. I can't remember if it was Olga or Tatiana who said, I am Russian and I intend to remain Russian. I will not be married off to another country. I believe it was Tatiana that said that, because she was much more definitive in the way that she spoke. And the young girls on the ship on the way there had taken their hats off and had gotten suntanned. And the purpose for that was they wanted to seem much more common and not as noble. And so they did have these rosy faces, these tanned faces when they arrived. And so they wanted to look more unattractive. They were incredibly beautiful girls. So very difficult. So I do think that for George, a conversation of marrying him off to a foreign house is evident, but I don't think that it's going to go through. I think this is a timeline shift that they will not jump on. If anything, I think they would go to a Middle Eastern bride to flex that multiculturalism, but it's too hot of a topic right now. That would be we are welcoming in an entirely different culture into our royal family. But I do think that maybe there was some interesting stuff there. Just for fun, William was just in Saudi Arabia. Was there any discussion of marriage? Absolutely not. No, William is going to give his children free will over that. So there we go. So as of a poll in 2023 and 2024, Republican support has been rising in the United Kingdom from 25 to 30%. This vote is very, very high with young voters, and it's higher in Scotland, but Scotland, Scotland isn't, watch Braveheart. Read up on your William Wallace. You'll know what I'm saying. So it does not appear that there's a sustained majority for abolition of the royal family. But the timeline that we're on, are we going to see the destruction of the royal family on the timeline that we're on? Very, very well kept secrets here. And I have always said that I think William is going to change the royal family into something that is more akin to a business owned by a family, managed by a family, and passed down from family member to family member. These things are well hidden. The crossroads from being a privileged individual and flexing that privilege as a gift is going to get a little bit different. We're going to depart from that. I honestly think that William is going to turn the royal family into a business model. They will remain royals, but they are not going to flex the same kind of power. And I don't think that they will enjoy the same amount of privilege. I think that this is the trimming back that William is going to do. Here again, the succession, we saw this in the last one. The succession is key here. The child going from dark to light, to the monarch, to back into good graces. So I think the less people we have involved in the machine or the business of being royal, the more control we have over the narrative and the more control we have over those characters. So I think that's the direction that this particular timeline is taking us. And I don't think that William is going to let that stop. Is William a free will absolutist? Is he a free will absolutist? I am the man who is going to create the future. Absolutely. This is my vision. I am going to make the changes that will create sustainability. I'm not going to give up my throne, but I am going to change the satellites around it. It's really what this is. I think the biggest challenge that William is going to have is going to be convincing people that the non-royals that are being brought in to advise him and be seen around him are just as valuable as the ones that are born by accident of birth into the royal family. So we are going to jump into part 3 after this, and it is going to be more about William's royal reckoning. So we're going to dip into a little bit more of this in more detail in the next one. Oh my goodness. I'll see you guys shortly in the future.